Hi everyone, just a quick update from me. If you're new here, my name's Alicia Louise Lillington. I'm a 34-year-old mum of a 19-month-old, and earlier this year I was diagnosed with Hodgkin Lymphoma. I went through 8 rounds of chemo and recently found out that I'm in remission. When I finished chemo, found out I was in remission, I thought before that point that was the point where everything was going to be really easy and I'd just, have this newfound purpose and spirituality and gratefulness for life that would make everything worthwhile and perfect. But that really hasn't been the case for me. I found this part the hardest. I think as well, once you do tell your network that you're in remission and that, maybe there's a misconception that you're okay now. There's also support from hospital health services and community services for people when they're going through chemo, but some of those services do drop off once you're in remission or after 6 months or after a certain point. This time of year has been really strange for me as well, because it's when I started feeling sick 12 months ago, and retrospectively it was the cancer, but I just thought I had an illness that had come to me from my daughter's childcare, or I thought I was just feeling a little bit off. And now looking back on those times and knowing how sick I was for so long, it's just kind of a bit, I don't know, it just makes me feel some type of way. I think as well, looking back, and I felt really good about my body image and my hair, and the reason I had lost so much weight was because I was quite sick, and I was getting lots of compliments and feeling well within myself, and I felt really good about my body. But it's just this kind of dichotomy, because now I'm better, but I'm not getting as many compliments, which, and you shouldn't put your worth into the external. I know that, we all know that, but at the end of the day, when people are constantly telling you, hey, you're looking great, you've lost a lot of weight, I think it's just made me reflect now. If I do see someone in my life that's lost weight or is looking good, I'll often just say, are you feeling well within yourself, before I, go into a compliment, because you just don't know what they could be going through. And weight loss is a symptom of a lot of different types of illnesses. This is the first time I've kind of gone out of late without my wig on. My hair is growing back, but I haven't had the confidence to go out too much without it. I had conjunctivitis recently. I started wearing my contacts again, but I got conjunctivitis from my daughter. And so I've mostly been wearing these glasses. And, this is a type of look, but I don't think it's my look. I'm trying to find a new look or find who I am. I've seen a few different images lately, and I've been researching, the shaved hair look. And I do think there are a lot of people who really rock it as a woman. I just never thought that would be me. And I guess the difference is when someone shaves their hair for cancer, or for a charity event, but they don't actually have cancer, or when someone has short hair, goes ahead and shaves their hair. The difference is that they have chosen that, and with chemo, I don't feel like it's really a choice. I never actually shaved my hair. It just fell out over time. And I have a bunch of videos over the time of what that journey was like too. I've been doing a lot of inner work as much as I can and trying to reflect on how to improve. But I also just have to be easy on myself. I think I've found that the hardest thing. I just, feel this real need to be an inspiring story and for this to all matter and to find purpose in it. But some days it's just you're back to everyday life, working 9 to 5. And although I show up in spaces as the new me, and I have a completely different understanding of what that catch up or that moment means the people around me haven't been through that journey. They've just, they're just catching up with me, like, hey Liz, and they have an understanding of what I've been through because I tell them, but I don't think anyone can really explain, unless you go through it firsthand, what it feels like to have your whole perspective and life shift. And I suppose, the main thing is that this is a really hard part of the journey. There's been days I haven't been able to do much. I haven't felt like catching up with people. I've really had to push myself to try and have catch-ups with people or reach out. My time just feels so precious, and with the type of work and mentoring and community stuff that I do, I always get a lot of people asking to hang out with me or to spend time together, and I've tried to be really selective in just choosing, starting with the foundation blocks and the building blocks of people that I'm close to, and just trying to catch up with them. And for me, reaching out for help is often like, hey, how are you going? Maybe that's not explicit enough, and maybe I need to say, hey, I'm struggling. I don't know. Do you have any tips on what you do if you are struggling? Write down below in the comments. That's kind of what I do, and I do think it's a gift to be able to be there for others. But a lot of my close support network have been going through things lately, and that's been really challenging too. I think that's another thing no one prepares you for. It's like, yes, you've gone through your own chemo health journey, and you're like, right, like ready to get back into it. But that doesn't take into account the fact that, several of your close family members and friends might have had, loss recently. They might have had, a new baby recently. They might have had, been struggling with their mental health, like all these different things and multiple factors and different layers, and everyone's going through their own thing. And I think, I definitely have commented on this before, how I kind of grew up with this Disney princess vision of life, and I'm still waiting for that Disney princess moment. I do have definitely some Disney princess moments, but it's just not all the time. But for me as well, I'm getting really a lot of anxiety when I try to book in to catch up with someone and the plans change, because I'm only doing 1 or 2 catch-ups now a week. Really, that's all I can sort of manage. Whereas I used to do, you don't even want to know how many catch-ups I used to do. I used to go to a networking breakfast before work. I'd go to work, I'd go to a lunch catch-up with someone, I'd have a coffee catch-up with someone throughout the day, and then I'd have after work drinks or dinner. And then I'd do, some charity work. I'd go do a speech. That was what my life was like before. And that's probably, before I had my daughter as well. But now it's just like, I don't want to just be going to all these things unless there's a deeper purpose. And I feel like catching up with people you're close to, that's the right reason. But even then, I find it hard to just see, things clearly. And so when, you catch up, you're booked in to catch up with someone and that changes, it can be really hard. And also but I guess as well, you don't know what they're going through. They might be going through their own thing. But if you do want to support someone who's going through it, and you reach out to them and they don't respond on a particular day, or you lock something in, you change the plans, make sure you keep following them up, because I just feel overwhelmed trying to look at the calendar again and find a time. And I mean, I said I'm only catching up 2 times a week with people, but I also work full time. I also have my daughter. That doesn't include catching up with family. That doesn't include, doing a speech here or there. So I am generally, still doing a lot. And my husband and I have been doing a course on inner work as well. And on that side of things, I have been chatting to a couple of counselors. They're not as good as Mary that I used to chat to. I'm just, and it's hard to find the right counselor. And I find the hardest part with finding a counselor is telling the whole story over again. Sometimes I'm like, can you just watch all the YouTube videos and just catch up? Because I don't want to keep reliving that trauma. I think as well, lately, everything's just hit me like a ton of bricks. I actually realized what I went through. And that was quite confronting. So yeah, that's how I'm feeling. I just wanted to share like the real and raw emotions at the end, well, the beginning of the next chapter of a cancer journey. I really want to get fit, and I had this lovely lady reach out from a gym, but I feel like paralyzed by fear and that I won't do a good job. And so it's been holding me back, and I don't know what to say to her. Like and you know, maybe she'll watch this and we can start a conversation, but you know, I really want to get into my fitness, but I just feel like I'm starting so far behind, and I feel like I'm like at the bottom of a well just trying to climb out right now. And it's very hard. It's a very hard time, and people just go on around you. I think that's the thing, maybe you've experienced this too, where you've had a significant life event that completely changed your perspective, or you've experienced loss in some way. You've had a health journey or something that didn't go as expected, and then it just feels like the world just continues on around you, but your perspective is completely changed. I don't know if any of this whole thing made sense, but I wanted to share, as I said, my real and raw feelings. I know that feelings come and go like waves, and they're not forever. But when you're going through them, sometimes it just feels like it, you know, you can't see the next step ahead. And I feel even like I put a lot of pressure on myself to get organized or to clean or to book the next thing in or to know what my schedule is, and it just keeps changing. I feel like I don't have any control in my life, and that's really hard. Just feeling out of control all the time. And I don't know, that's where I'm at. But I do appreciate everyone who has been following the journey. Probably less people who have still stuck around and made it this far. But I also think it's good to have these videos, even just as a record for myself to come back to in the future and see where I was at. I think I have this vision as well. I'm like, I know that I'm going to do something really great and turn this pain into purpose one day. I'm just not 100% sure what that looks like now, but that's my vision. And, you know, I have this vision of getting fit, and this is just the start of that journey. But right now it's just a bit hard to see. But I do think it's good to document it as well. Like when I look back at things, 12 months ago, I recorded some videos when I started feeling sick. I've